I think the other big reason, the other big reason the X-Men is involved here and why I think Marvel is doing this is one, there are plenty of X-Men characters to create spectacle and stakes given the amount of Avengers characters that we already have. But more vitally, Marvel hasn't had time to introduce the X-Men into the MCU.
So
They've
just
kind
bring
of
them
messed
back.
up. They've messed up with the whole King thing. They got bogged down in the multiverse stuff. Whatever the original plan was, it did not work out. And the X-Men never got a proper 616 introduction. So how do we get around that? Well, you bring back
the old X-Men, and then that gives you some leeway to make the transition when you can.
Exactly, because you don't need any character building. We already know them. It's a built-in cheat code. Younger audiences might be lost if they haven't seen those Fox X-Men films. Something I think Marvel is willing to gamble on here because I think that's exactly why they're doing this.
Yeah, they're trying to close a loop here, but they're trying to do as little setup work as possible, which honestly,
100%.
They kind of shot themselves in the foot in a lot of ways in order to get to this point. But I could see why they're doing it, and I do have sympathy for them going this route because it makes sense. They're trying to do as little introductory work as possible. So that way, when Avengers Doomsday starts 5 minutes in, we're already into the meat of the story. They have
100%.
no setup to
Exactly. Yep. They are banking on most people having seen those movies and knowing those characters, even if just on a broader sense, you know who Logan is, you know who Professor X is, you know who Scott is, you know what defines all of those characters. And I think Marvel is leaning on us already having that knowledge in our minds to some degree or another. And you couple that with how we associate Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and James Marsden with those characters and so on and so forth, which means we are emotionally invested in them as well. So when the movie begins, it's not even just that we're up to speed in terms of character development, but there's an emotional attachment to it as well, thus giving the film stakes as the action unfolds. I don't know if I agree with that approach, but if you're going to rush things like we saw with the DCU,
I mean, the only way to go about it,
there's some sort of foundation cinematic.